Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we'll be making Buzz Lightyear from the new movie out of polymer clay. Also, if this video somehow gets 30 likes, I will continue this clay series and I will create Zurg from clay as well. I am starting off by using some grey clay for Buzz's spacesuit. Just adding some little details. Something that I really enjoy about clay is just mixing it and seeing how all of the different colors slowly blend in together, and finally they make just a plain color. In this case it is white. Currently I am making a chest piece for Buzz's spacesuit, and I think it looks quite cool after all of the details have been applied, but this is just the first layer. I am smoothing everything out and making this piece of clay quite thin, so I can easily wrap it around Buzz's body. And now I'll be adding these little flaps to give it more detail, and that's also where his arms will go in the future. After mixing these greens together, I will be making a little strip of clay, and that's how I will be creating the bottom part of his costume. Another strip of clay, this time white, and I'll be adding this and wrapping it around Buzz's body just how I did with his chest piece. I will cut off the remaining bit of clay, and finally with this last bit, the trousers are complete. I decided to use the lid of my Sharpie to create a circle for the armhole. This wasn't enough, however, so I had to use my blade to get the job done. I am now filling in the outer edges of the armhole with some grey clay, and I think it's a nice little detail. I have done the exact same on the opposite side, and now I just have to fix some little details and smudges that I made on accident while working on this creation. After about an hour of work, this is what I've done so far. I know it's not much, but it's a good start. I actually realized that there wasn't enough depth in his chest piece, so I decided to fix that up by adding some more flat strips to the sides of his chest piece in hopes of making it look more three-dimensional. All I'm doing now is just trying to smooth out the connection between the old layer of clay and the new layer of clay that I just put down. This is going to be the last layer of clay for Buzz's chest piece, and probably the hardest one to make so far. I started off by flattening out a green piece of clay and then cutting it into a rectangle. Then I made a little shape for where the neck will go and worked on the bottom part of his chest, which was pretty much just a little cutout. After the chest was complete, I began working on some sort of tube or pipe. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks cool, and also that was pretty much all I did for day one. On day 2, I started setting up all of the clay because I was pretty excited to finish this project. I rolled out yet another strip of clay, and this was how I wanted to connect his back with his chest. As you can see, it goes over Buzz's shoulder and onto the lower part of his back. For the rest of his back, I decided to use just a thin piece of clay and smooth everything out. After making a general shape for Buzz's body, I decided that it was time for some minor details. It was actually quite difficult to find out what the back looks like on the new character design of Buzz. I had to look through the trailer several times and there weren't many clips of his back. This was probably the best picture I could get, and I did my best to replicate this with clay. The front of the spacesuit, however, was much easier to work with because I had a really good reference image. I could add lots of details such as these buttons that I'm currently working on. I used the end of my brush to make space for a switch, or at least that's what I think it is. Yeah, it's definitely some sort of switch. As you can see, I've made a lot of progress with the spacesuit and I was quite happy with it. Maybe even too happy, because straight afterwards I decided to make the legs really quickly, but it wasn't the best choice I had. I opened up some brand new white clay, mixed it up, and began working on the legs. Yeah, this was not a good idea. The clay was really warm and it was pretty much melting in my hands, and I've made a lot of smudges. I constantly had to fix things up, so in the end I kind of gave up and had to After about half an hour later, I gathered my thoughts and came up with another idea for the legs. I decided to unfold a paperclip, 2 paperclips actually, and use those for the legs separately. So I would make a general shape for the legs, and then attach them to the body, and then work on little details. This plan seemed to work perfectly, and I think from now on, that's how I'll be making my clay figures, piece by piece. So if you want to see me improve, leave a like, and if this video reaches 30 likes, I'll make Zurg out of clay as well. Currently, I am making some rather big kneecaps for Buzz's legs. And here comes the part where I actually attach the legs to the main body. After overcoming some challenges, the day was coming to an end. On day 3, I really needed Buzz to have some feet, so things would be a whole lot easier for me. After that, I started working on some details and then attaching them to his legs. As you can see, the clay was starting to warm up again and Buzz was falling a lot. But this didn't stop me because I had a lot done and I just kind of went with it, and yeah, it turned out just fine. Right now I am using the end of my brush to kind of make some room for grey clay. 6 hours in and Buzz's body with his legs were complete. I used the same method for his arms and made a lot of little parts, which I then attached to an unfolded paper clip. The shape of Buzz's forearms was quite unique, so I did my best to recreate that with clay. After making something that looked like a tooth, I flattened out 2 small pieces of green clay and combined them with the top of Buzz's forearms. Then I started creating his hands, and hands is something that I usually struggle with making. But to my surprise, I actually liked how they turned out. Even the hand that was pointing looked fairly convincing in my opinion. I attached both the arms and the hands, and it was finally time to make the final part, and probably the most important part, his face. I quickly made space for his eyes with the end of my brush and created a nose out of clay. Buzz's eyes were really simple to make because they were literally just tiny circles of clay. I made sure to make a tiny dot for Buzz's chin, which was quite accurate. I reckon the eyebrows were the hardest to make because it showed his expression, but I think I did a decent job with that. After creating this last bit, Buzz Lightyear was officially complete. Thank you so much to everyone who watched the video until the very end. I really hope you enjoyed, but I will have to see you in the next video. Goodbye.